Anthony there?
Anthony is on the phone.
Perfect. Okay.
Good morning.
John, is that you?
There's John.
Good morning. All right, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. On the phone, I have Commissioner Main and Commissioner Sweet and Commissioner Cribbins. Is anybody else on the line?
Yes, this is Mike Rowley.
Hi, Mike. Looks like our first agenda item is appointment of interim public health director. I assume that's your agenda item?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, we ready? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like the board to appoint Kathy Cooley as the public health director and the local public health authority as that position would hold as of 4/22/2020.
Okay.
I so move.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Sir?
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Just so
Thank
you're
you.
aware, that Caroline does have a resolution prepared to do that, so can we use your stamps to get this done?
Bobby,
Yes,
anything
what's the resolution
you
number?
can use my stamp for.
It's resolution 2004-071P.
Okay. Can you guys go ahead?
2004-071P.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you
We have
want
a motion to approve that.
approve that resolution?
I do.
Melissa?
Yes, please.
I move we approve resolution 24071P.
2004-071P.
2004, whatever that number is, 204071P. I move we approve that resolution.
Second.
All right. Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next agenda item is follow-up on discussion regarding Oakland County Parks. We have a phased reopening plan from Parks Department. Do we have more discussion we want to have on that?
Well, they don't have dates on it.
I think it's too early for dates.
I have tried to contact state parks, and actually they initiated the call and said they wanted to visit. I called back. That was our regional manager here, and we've not been able to touch base. I did leave a message with him confirming that we wanted to open them sooner or later. And the message he left me, he said he'd already heard that and wanted to coordinate. My next call was to the U.S. Forest Service lady that manages the dunes. Her office is in Walport, Oregon. I told her we were considering would like to open our parks, and probably around the 8th of May. But there would be no sense in our opening Riley if the dunes were still closed. And she said, I'm going to have a meeting regarding that type of thing on Monday, and I'll get back to you. So we're still in limbo in working with state parks and the Forest Service. And so I think it's going to be hard for us to get a date until we visit with them a little bit more. But I'm not clear. My understanding is that there is a state order closing parks, and so I assume we cannot do it until we coordinate with our partners. And I heard the governor say that she has directed state parks to handle matters relating to opening parks. So I suspect we have to have buy-in from them and possibly the governor before we can do it. What's your
I believe so. I think you can open the day use area.
That we probably do it, yeah.
But we do run the risk of people congregating. So.
Yeah, we do. I don't know how much use our parks would get as a day area. How meaningful would that be?
Probably depends on the park.
Which park do you have in mind? That would be
the biggest day use would be Riley, and since the dunes aren't open, one, that probably wouldn't happen either.
No, but it might cause some confusion about whether or not the dunes are open and cause more
Yeah,
enforcement work for.
Yeah,
I would think
we
so.
have definitely, if we're gonna, when and if we open Riley, I think we definitely have to do that in coordination with the Forest Service.
I agree.
And then do we limit it to Oregon people only, or for a while?
I don't think we legally have the authority to do that.
Well, like the governor did with the hunting and fishing, it was Oregon residents only.
It's a license, though.
Yeah. I guess we could ask state parks if they could do it.
We could totally ask. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Good what?
We could ask state parks if it would limit opening to
Yeah.
Oregon residents only for a while.
Yeah. So I
No.
don't think we have the answers we need yet to discuss this a lot further, but hopefully I'll get more answers early next week.
I was having trouble differentiating between RV parks and parks. I mean, I can understand between tents and RVs in the county park, but what happens if you just bring an RV? Isn't that the same as the private RVs?
Yeah.
I mean, we could say no tent camping or whatever, but as far as RVs, they seem they would fit in the same category as the private ones.
I agree.
All things that I would love you to pursue with state parks, John.
I shall do that. While we're at it, on that matter, one thing that we might consider doing to prevent spread of the disease was not have the bathrooms open at the parks.
Yeah.
Well,
now
not,
this
not
wouldn't
spread
work
of that
today.
disease anyway.
Pardon me?
Not spread of COVID-19 anyway. We'll run the risk of increased fecal oral diseases.
I couldn't hear you, Melissa.
I said not COVID-19 anyway, but if we close the bathrooms, we do run the risk of increased fecal oral diseases.
Well, what I'm headed is that you would have to come in your own self-contained trailer or RV and shower and use that for your water source and use that for your restroom source. You take your stuff home with you. That would be another precaution,
Yeah.
just like renting out every second or third space. And then make it no drop-by business. It's all right by reservation, prepaid. So we're not exchanging money. We don't have to be close to people. I mean, I'm trying to think of extreme things we can do to show that we're trying to let people get outside and enjoy nature and be out of their house, and yet not absolutely minimize the possibility of spreading infection.
That seems well worth exploring.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, we will do that. Then the other thing, and Bob, I know you're anxious to get going sooner rather than later, but I don't think it's the reason I'm advocating for month-long phases instead of 2-week-long phases, as the governor suggested. Just so I can get specific, let's say that we were going to open our parks May 1, and that would be phase 1, and then phase 2 would happen May 15. But by the 15th of May, we won't know what impacts, if any, having the park open between the 1st and the 14th had. And we certainly wouldn't know quickly enough to start accepting reservations for May 15th. So what I'm suggesting is that if it were May 1, we would open May 1, and then we would not take reservations for more than 2 weeks ahead of time. And then once we get that initial 2 weeks done, and we can still have people coming in under the same Phase 1 restrictions for May 15 through 30. But we wouldn't be taking restrictions for the next phase, which would start June 1, until after we've had a chance to analyze the first 2 weeks' activity. And I don't know quite what we'll have to analyze, but if we get a full-blown epidemic here in Coos County, certainly we would be wanting to close the parks down. I'm not anticipating that. But it just seems administratively and perception, from a perception standpoint as well, to not hurry these phases, but give ourselves time to really analyze and see what impact, if any, there is from doing that.
What about maybe having second phase open up on the 25th of May or so?
Well,
I think it's too
That
soon to try to put dates on this.
I think
That would be.
it's hard, but
Well, it's trying to just
even if we were to put
Memorial.
dates on it, I think the earliest date we would have would be May the 8th.
trying to catch Memorial Weekend.
I
Well,
know, but I
talking
think I just think I tried to do that too, Bob. I just don't know if it's practical.
Yeah, Memorial Weekend started on the 23rd, actually Friday evening, the 22nd. So
There's not much time to analyze what's happening in Phase 1
yeah,
before Memorial Day. So I think we'd have to bite the bullet that we're not going to be. If anything, we'll be lucky to be in Phase 1 on Memorial Day weekend, and certainly not to Phase.
that would be 23rd.
Under 2 weeks.
Well, that would be 23 days from the first if we
We're
open
not going to open on it.
camping only, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see our getting answers next week to allow us open by Friday.
I don't know. I don't
So
think
I'm
so
thinking
either.
that following Friday would be the most optimistic.
Yeah.
I don't either, but we could certainly touch base on this again next week.
It's a tough decision to try and know when the optimum time is.
Yeah. But we'll know a little bit more Monday after we talk to U.S. Forest Service and
Yep.
probably Tuesday, because she says she has her meeting on Monday.
Okay. She'd probably know on the 28th. Okay.
I'm reluctant to even set a date.
Okay.
I'm willing to say I don't think there's any way possible we're going to know by next Friday. Going to know soon enough to open next Friday and give anyone time to make plans to be there, to come and use our park.
Okay. All right. We'll exercise on the caution side.
Good.
That's all
Thank
I
you.
know
I agree.
about parks.
Okay. Our next agenda item is upcoming CDBG grant opportunity. And that is a request CCD. There's an emergency small business and micro enterprise assistance grant. CCD would like to apply for that and do training for businesses and help businesses in Coos, Curry, and Douglas counties. Douglas County has already responded that yes, they're interested in being involved. The grant, I think, starts next week, and so I would like us to also be involved. I think small businesses need every bit of help they can get right now, and
Yep.
and if we can pass some support that way, I think we should absolutely just be all in.
Okay.
I move we support the grant.
Okay.
I second.
Good. All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I will let them know then today that we're interested. There'll be more paperwork we have to sign, but they wanted to make sure we were interested before they move forward.
Alrighty.
And then consideration of drought declaration resolution. Do we have, there's the resolution. So, I'm sure you guys have been hearing the same thing. Curry County has passed a drought declaration. Klamath County has passed a drought declaration. We are actually, the coast is shockingly low this year, and Coos County is in severe drought status as of April 14th. There are issues with domestic water wells going dry and not recovering. I have spoken to the water master and the regional water director, and they've both expressed concerns and would like us to go ahead and pass this drought declaration to help mitigate some of these well issues before they get really bad.
What's the resolution number? I don't have it, Mike.
It's resolution 20. Are you going to be able to remember it?
No, I'm writing it down.
2004-072L.
L. How come you use L on some and P on other?
This is a
I
legal
don't know.
one.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, I move we approve. Listen carefully. I see if I got this right. 2004-072L.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So the next step is for that drought declaration to be sent on to the governor's office, where she will have to certify the drought declaration. So we have a letter that needs to go to the governor's office along with a resolution. Is everybody fine with letting Bobby use your stamp on that?
Yes, I am.
I am.
I
Thank
am
you.
too. Okay. Thank you. And then I don't have any other agenda items. I have a miscellaneous. Anybody else?
There was an added one, number 5.
I just saw that as miscellaneous. Oh,
Follow up.
there you go. I see it now.
Okay.
Follow-up discussion on joint county letter to the governor urging a phase 1 opening. My only concern is, I was the one who I think brought this up with Matt. That's why I'll bring it up. It did say that they were urging the reopening to start today, and Jackson County hadn't even voted yet. Does that seem like a reasonable date? When I read it, I took it as, just saying we're ready to start working towards this right away. I didn't take it as like open everything up on Friday. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood it the same way I did.
I understood it as it would allow us to move into a phased opening. I frankly had not paid attention to the starting date.
Yeah, I knew it was today, but I was not quite certain. I understand the phase 1 for the governor's office, but I'm not certain of that phase 1 for Douglas County. I guess it is, but I was a little bit uncertain on what that really meant.
Yeah, me too. So I don't know if we need to put a call into Douglas County, if we just want to clarify what our thoughts were. I wanted to give us a chance to have a discussion about it. I just really saw it as something saying Coos County's ready to engage in these discussions, start working on a plan to put this together, and we want to start right now.
Yeah, what I thought it was.
I think there's some other counties that don't even want to start on the discussion yet.
Yeah, the North counties. I thought it was to have a coordinated opening is mostly what I thought it was all about.
A coordinated
Yeah.
regional opening, because the governor was very clear that nothing had to be statewide. It could be county by county or region by region.
Yeah.
And I sense this was a move on Douglas County's part to promote a regional opening and to get the governor to let us move into phase one. The fact of the matter is, I don't think that part of the governor's program was to work with industry groups and let them participate in what the protocol would be during each of the phases. And I don't know that we have feedback from that yet. So she probably won't let us move into phase one until those industry protocols are established and communicated anyway. Again, I go back, I don't know that it can hurt to send this in. Jackson, we won't know today whether Jackson County approves it or not. And I don't have a read on whether they will or not.
I don't know if Douglas County sent it off yet.
Well, they won't until Jackson approves it.
Oh, okay.
So, Melissa,
So,
would you mind
obviously
calling
not-
Chris and just seeing how he's going to handle this? The fact that the date is before it's fully approved, or the same day it's fully approved.
Yes, I will call Chris this afternoon.
It's obviously not happening today.
Right. I guess that was my thought when I saw the date. I mean, that was obviously an ambitious date, and yeah, like I said, I'll say it for like the 15th time. I thought it was really meant to save our place in line and say how soon we were willing to start having these discussions and working on a plan.
Right.
So, I don't know that even if the date is early, that and if Jackson approves it, that I'd want to withdraw our signature from the letter at this point. The governor is probably going to say no anyway until she gets her industry protocols in place. But this will at least let her know that we think that we are interested in getting back to some level of normalcy, and that we think we're ready to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Some this news this morning, I think, Texas, Arkansas, etc., even Wisconsin to the north, the only county or only state to the north, all decided they were opening.
Georgia's opening.
Yeah, there was like 6 or 7 of them.
So,
All right.
we can clarify it, but I don't think I'm of a mind unless something really comes up that is an overwhelming reason not to send it, that I would pull the letter just because the date is a little too optimistic. The governor can say no. And I think she'll say no until she has her industry protocols in place anyway.
Well, I don't think the date has much meaning. It was their intent to do it, but without the lifting of 20-12, it's not going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think the date was just an urgency thing.
Yeah. I think it was misconstrued by some people to mean that we were going to throw the whole county back open today. I mean, that's clearly not what we're doing. And what I'm hearing from all three of us is we want to clarify that, what we're looking at is a phased reopening, and we're willing to start having those discussions now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on the calls I've got from Bandon, I think the fear is that everything gets opened up today, and that's not the case.
No, that wasn't
No.
the case at all.
We couldn't do that
No.
even if we wanted to.
No, we
No,
yeah.
it's still under the
I
resolution.
I appreciate the clarification. I have another thought I'd like to share with you if we have a moment or two.
We have 2 moments.
Okay. It relates to face masks and face masking. I think we should do all we can to make that the norm, not the exception. And one thought I had was we ordered a bunch of face masks, $5,000 worth, I think. Do we know how many that will buy us? I forgot.
Well, 20,000 bought 50,000, so that proportion. So, well, that'll be about 12,500.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
And
What if
hopefully, now we ordered it, apparently, we ordered through SWAB, Southwestern Oregon Workforce Investment Board. So
Yeah.
they'll get them delivered to them. Somehow we need to get at least a portion of those to hand out to all the county folks and have a supply down on this end of the county so businesses don't have to run all the way to Coos Bay.
So
I think
they'll
that's
be delivered to Coos Bay, you said?
Well,
Yeah, to Stowaway's office.
Yeah,
get
okay.
some of them from Coos Bay down here so businesses, et cetera, don't have to run all the way to Coos Bay. And as I know it, talking to Kyle, they were selling them at the cost that they incurred. So it was just no markup, no nothing, just whatever the cost was.
Okay, here's the thought.
We would have to set up something here in Coquille, meaning where somebody would staff selling those particular items, the PPEs.
Well, I have a thought I'd like to bounce off of you. We, this week, decided to let our hotel, motel, RV park restriction for short stays lapse.
Yep.
And one thing I would like to suggest is that we give each motel or hotel, and I can't tell you how many, some face masks, and say these are to be used by your staff, and encourage your guests to use them as well. And this is part of the recommendation we made when we lifted the restriction on short stays. And these are on us, but we expect you to continue that. And the next batch is on your own. You have to buy them. And it would just be a step that we could say that has been taken to alleviate some of the concern, I think, that has been raised because of this.
That works for me. But I also think, what do you think, John, about, would you be willing to reach out to Julie over at TSOC and see, or I can reach out to Julie. Frankly, I think I owe her a phone call right now to see if they'd be willing to maybe match the amount that we're putting in.
Sure.
Travel Southern Oregon Coast.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Now I want to take this a
I
step
don't-
further. I really think that if we want to show that we want to move ahead, if we want to show as a county that we want to move ahead and get back to near normal earlier rather than later, that wearing the face masks will be very important. Already, I think it should be, I see it in the grocery stores, although I've not been there very often. But not everyone's doing it. But I think there's an increasing awareness. And I'm wondering about having a county health authority order that if you're in store or a beauty parlor or a barber shop or wherever you might go, that wearing a mask or some other face cover
think about that?
Do. I'm not asking for
Yeah,
an
me too.
answer today. I posed the question to Tim Slater and asked him to respond. I talked to Mary Shamahorn, and she thought it was a really good idea. I had a call from the owner of a bookstore in Bandon, and I think she must have been under the impression that our Douglas County letter was going to result in everything being opened up right today, or that, very soon. And she was very distressed. She did not want to be open. And I've had mixed calls. I think predominantly they are for opening the hotels and signing the letter. But there's a certain group that is not very happy, and I think we ought to consider tying some restrictions to that. And one of them would be like the store would have no mask, no service, or no face cover, no service.
Of course, the folks who
I don't think people are.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think people are getting really mixed messages. So.
We are, and there's always the people who are highly concerned. There's still all the protocols in place, like distancing, wearing face masks, washing your hands, wearing rubber gloves, etc. And basically staying at home instead of out running around. For those people already extremely concerned, even to the point where they could have their own groceries delivered or have the neighbor do it or something like that. But there's this fine line between being shut down and the economy going in the dumpster.
And I'd just like to get us back to the point where people would be increasingly comfortable going to the grocery store or getting a haircut. For God's sakes, Mills, I need to get one pretty soon.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
have to come to Melissa for some hairdressing, hairstyling.
I've got to go.
And I think masking would be a good step toward that. It would be a good, for the protection of the people who are manning our grocery stores. Because it's not only the air they breathe in, it's the air I breathe out.
It's not only masking, it's the touching of things also.
Yeah. So
do you have them wear disposable gloves when they're at the grocery store also?
I don't know how far to go, but I'd certainly like to start with masks. And I'm not asking for an answer, just for...
just thinking out loud here about, gloves. The grocery stores are trying to disinfect the handles on the carts and all that sort of stuff, but there's going to be a certain amount of transfer even with gloves on. I've used some gloves when I go to the grocery store, and just before I get to my door handle, I grab them by the cuff and do them inside out, and then I grab a hold of my door handle. But that's just me.
How long does it take you to get into the store?
What?
How long does it take to get into the store doing all that?
Oh, less than a minute, 30 seconds, something like that.
Okay. No, I think it's important that we take a look at these things, and I think it would signal a big. To me, it would be part of our readiness to reopen our economy.
You're trying to set an example, also.
I'm trying to set an example. And I'm trying to send a message to the state that these are the things we're doing down here.
Yeah.
And we'd like to reopen. And I talked to public health about it this morning. I said, but, help us with this, help me with this. But part of it is going to be, where do we get this stuff? We can't order people to wear things they can't get.
Exactly.
Well,
So,
Swab
do you want to
apparently
connect
has,
with Kyle and see if how much he thinks we could get from him?
Yeah. But his masks are kind of single-use masks, aren't they?
I think
Well,
they are,
that's
yeah.
that's fine.
I mean,
I
but
don't
you
spend
saw how,
that- Apparently, single-use masks are good for about an hour when you're breathing through them before they get moisture saturated, but I don't spend an hour in a grocery store.
I was going to say, there's no
Probably in
reason
there
you need
half
to be
an
in
hour
that
at the
grocery
most.
store for more than an hour.
No,
But
me
you're
either.
out to get
Maybe
into the goddamn store, listening to
30, 40 minutes would be maximum for me.
So,
I'm the one doing the
Sorry to
shopping.
do
Jeff's
this.
in it.
did
I have to jump on another call, you guys. I can hang up and Bob can just take over.
Oh, okay.
No, we're fine.
All right.
I'm all
Yeah,
right.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We'll talk about this Monday more, if we can. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Have a good weekend.
All right.